Hello again. Welcome back to another session of Try This at Home with the Vernon Public Art Gallery. And today we are going to be doing experimental printmaking. So for this lesson, you will need some cardboard, some sort of paper that you can print on. I've got some printmaking paper here, but if you want, you can also print on colored construction paper or any sort of paper that you have at home. You'll also need some scissors, some tissue paper, and I have Speedball block printing ink. If you don't have that, which is not a problem at all, you just need to use some sort of paint, so it could be acrylic, what have you. You'll also need some glue, and I believe that is all. So I guess we can start with what is printmaking. So essentially, printmaking is transferring an image or something from one surface to another. So we call the thing that you use to transfer, so where your image is called a matrix. So we are going to be building on our matrix today and using that to print onto paper. So I just took an old cardboard box and cut a square. You can do whatever shape you like, but that's the shape that I'm going to be doing today. And then you need to cut out some pieces of cardboard and glue it on. So think about what you want to create before you get started. So it can be something more abstract. If you're with little ones, it could be fun to just talk about shapes. So cut out some circles, some triangles, rectangles, whatever shapes float your boat. And then if you're wanting to maybe do something different, you can talk about self-portraits. Maybe you can cut out some different shapes and make a face or something along those lines. You can think about the landscape. Maybe you want to cut out shapes in the shape of mountains, lakes, suns, whatever you like. You can also think about still lifes. Really, whatever you want is fine. This is a really versatile project, so just pick something and run with it. So today I think I'm going to do something a little bit more abstract. So I took some cardboard. So I just have this piece of cardboard hanging around and I cut some shapes out. So once you have your shapes all cut out, then you are going to want to glue them onto your cardboard. So I just have a glue stick. You can use white glue, whatever you have at home. And we'll get started. I think I'm just going to place them in random spots here. Awesome. So, depending on what type of glue you have, you might need some time to let it dry. So, you can just move it off to the side. And then on your printmaking paper or construction paper, white paper, whatever paper you have, you want to do some sort of experimental background. So I am going to be using tissue paper today because I like the way it looks once you kind of layer the tissue paper on top of each other. If you don't have tissue paper at home, you can use some magazines. You could do sort of a collage-like cutout background. You can use pencil crayons. You could just draw some sort of interesting background. You can also, really anything. If you've got like a paper bag from the grocery store, you can cut that up and glue it on the back here. Any sort of old books. Get creative. Think outside the box. So I cut out a couple pieces of tissue paper already, so I'm going to glue it on. You can try and glue the tissue paper, or you can just glue right on the paper. I think I'm going to just throw some glue on the paper just because there's less chance of it accidentally ripping. So I'll just try and get some glue on the back. And Maybe I'll throw that one over here somewhere. And I got some pink here. Maybe I'll cut out another circle of some sort. So I think this is good for now. You can just keep layering and do as much as you like. But I'm going to keep it simple for today. And you could just go ahead and glue down any pieces that you might have missed. So once everything's glued down, you want to get your ink ready. So what I am going to do is I am just going to put the ink directly on the table because it's a water-based ink. It's really easy to clean off. If you don't feel comfortable doing that, you can grab a baking sheet, you can grab an old picture frame and just take the glass out. Really anything that's sort of flat and smooth works great. So I'm going to show you how to use the ink. Again, if you don't have ink at home, you can just use some paint. You could take your paintbrush and paint it onto your cardboard. But we're going to use some awesome printmaking tools. So for those who may not know, this is called a brayer, and this is what we use to roll out the ink and roll it onto our matrix. So I've got this beautiful turquoise here. It's going to squirt some out on the table. And when you're rolling, if you have a brayer and that's what you want to use, we want to roll like this. Notice how I'm lifting it up as I get to the end. If you just keep going back and forth, you're not going to get the ink fully covering the whole roller. So it's important to kind of just lift it up once you get to the end. And don't be afraid to go back and forth, different directions. So I'm not sure if you can hear it in the video, but when you're rolling, when you kind of hear a nice hiss sound, that's the sound that you want to hear. That means you have the perfect amount of ink on your roller. If you find it's really goopy, then roll it out a bit more in a bigger surface because you have too much ink down. If it's not very even and you're not really hearing a hissing kind of sound, then you need a little bit more ink. So this is something you can experiment with before you do your good copy if you just want to do a couple test runs and experiment with the ink. That's probably a good idea if you're using paint as well. Just sort of experimenting with how much paint you need on your cardboard in order for it to transfer onto your paper. So this looks and sounds good to me. So I'm going to move this out of the way. Now, wherever you have cardboard, that's where the ink is generally going to go and it's going to stick, and that's what's going to get transferred onto your paper. So if you have something in just here, that's not going to really print. So whatever you have cut out, that's what you're going to use. If you also want to experiment and get creative, you can use some string, you can glue some string down, you can find anything laying around your house and just go wild. Experiment. So, coat my cardboard, and if you get ink not on the shapes, like just on the background, don't stress, not a problem. And then as you notice, I'm charging my roller as I go. So that basically means once I get some ink down, you're gonna end up using some of the ink that's on your roller. So you wanna roll it up and get more ink on it. So just keep doing that until it looks pretty shiny and it looks like there's quite a bit of ink on there. If you find you're running out of ink, don't be afraid to just add a little bit more. Fully coat your matrix. So this is looking pretty good. I think you're gonna print it. So, putting your brayer, this is what this lovely metal thing is for, putting it down that way. If you put it down this way, you're just gonna get ink everywhere and you can damage the roller. So, got my beautiful picture. Got my inkjet matrix, and I'm going to place it somewhere in the center here. And press down. Rub, rub, rub all around. Make sure that evenly transferring. Once you think you've probably pressed every area that needs to be pressed, you can reveal your image. This is the exciting part. So there you have it. You can see some of the cardboard has that texture there, and because I got some ink on the corners there, I really made sure to press down on the corners, some of it transferred there. So you kind of have this element of chance and experimenting, which is pretty fun. Now you can let this dry and add another layer. If you're wanting to, you can get a couple different colors out, and maybe when you're doing your picture, you can just ink up some of them one color and the other shapes another color. The world is your oyster. You can try printing on different colors of paper and see how that looks. Really, I'm giving you the bare bones and letting you run with it. So this is really simple, easy way to do some printmaking at home. I hope that you guys enjoy this, and like I say in all the other videos, feel free to leave any comments, questions, suggestions. I'd love to hear from you guys, and we will see you, I think, in about a week or so for our next Try This at Home session. Okay, everyone, take care.